Here's the thing, like, what do you do with all the zucchini? Because literally every farm stand, that's all they have. They have tons of zucchini. So I'm always looking for like recipes that are zucchini happy, and this is a very zucchini happy recipe. I made up this dish, right? I think it's probably some old Roman or like Florentine thing. And what you have is you have this sausage, which is sweet Italian sausage. You have a lot of these little zucchinis that are cut up, mostly yellow and some green. And you have a lot of garlic too. Quite a ton of fresh mint as well. And you have cheese too. I forgot, did I mention cheese? Let's get going. So here's what you do. You brown the sausage, and then this is one of the more arduous tasks of cooking with sausages, doing this for 10 minutes, you know? By the way, there's a lot of olive oil in here. Between 1/4 and 1/3 of a cup of olive oil in here. I just eyeball it. Here's the thing that's funny. It's like, you think you need to kind of mash it up into little tiny pieces, but it's always better when you kind of keep a few big pieces in the sausage, like a few chunks of sausage. Well, you know, I learned to cook when I was a kid. When I moved out of my mom's house when I was 21, I went to Macy's cellar and I bought a full set of Le Creuset. And I thought, this is it was the most expensive thing I had ever bought in my life. And I still have a lot of it. It was blue and amazing. And I bought the Julia Child cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, volumes 1 and 2, and I just started cooking stuff. And literally my whole kitchen was about the size of the island, and it was great. And I did stuff in that kitchen that no one will ever know, okay? You will never know what happened in that kitchen, but, you know, and the thing about those French recipes is, you know, there was no video in those days. There was no, like, demonstration. It was all, you had to read a lot, and like, no matter what, even when it sucked, it was delicious. You know, like, even if you made a mistake, it was really good. I'm not kidding. Like, that's the funny thing. And like, in the beginning, I didn't know, they didn't have names for, like, you didn't know that you were making a bechamel sauce. It was just called sauce, you know, and it was just a description. And if you did it wrong, it would be clumpy, but it was still really good, you know. So I don't think you can go wrong when you cook. That's the thing about fresh pasta. When you make fresh, when you sit there and you knead the dough and you make the pasta, like, even when it's terrible, it's incredibly delicious. All right, so this is pretty brown. So this is like kind of perfect color. It's kind of like foie gras color, right? It's still a little pink. You don't want to overcook the sausage because it's going to cook again when you make the sauce. So I learned to cook, you know, in this kitchen. Okay, so now you add in the garlic, right? You add all this garlic in here, and you give it a minute just to get sort of color. No color. You just want to sort of smell it, and literally not for long because you don't want it to burn. You hear the same things on every damn cooking instruction, right? Like, you don't want the garlic to burn. Don't burn the garlic. And also, like, people have defaulted to these really boring words that they use to describe things. Like, you describe cheese as being nutty. Like, that's not a good description. I'm sorry. And they always describe chocolate as being decadent, right? Like, chocolate's so decadent. Darlings, you want to know decadent? Come by some Friday night, okay? At 2 in the morning, I'll show you decadent. It's not chocolate, okay? Yeah, chocolate's not decadent. Stop saying chocolate's decadent. Stop it. Just stop, okay? So I just added the zucchini, and I'm gonna do a little bit of hot pepper, and let it just kind of sit there in the oil for a minute, and I'm gonna salt the zucchini, right? So here's the thing. You know, I taught myself how to cook, and then when I had my talk show for those 7 years, I had literally 1,000 cooking segments with literally 1,000 of the greatest chefs in the entire world. And so I learned a lot, you know. I learned a lot from from Jacques Pepin. Like, he came on my show and he taught me how to, like, bone a chicken, which is something I will never ever do again in my entire life. But it's really good to know how to bone a chicken. So now this has to cook for a minute. I'm going to put the pasta in at the moment now, right? This is rigatoni, and it's not Barilla. God, I posted this thing with Barilla pasta, and like every queen in the fucking world, like, you know, came at me because somehow Barilla is like, you know, anti-LGBTQ. So no more Barilla in this house. But also like, hey girls, could you tell a person in a nice way? Like I didn't know I was fucking you up, okay? I had no idea I was fucking you all up. All right, so this is simmering. Now that, you have to make sure that comes back to a boil. And you have to stir the pasta when you put it in. Oh, and now you have to time the pasta, of course, right? Time the pasta, 10 minutes, I think, because it's rigatoni. If it was spaghetti, it would be like 7 minutes. You want it to be al dente, right? I don't know why I did that with the spoon. I have no idea. It's like, it makes me feel like my grandmother or something, you know? My mother was extremely erudite and well-read and extremely sophisticated and really, really chic. Like she was so chic. And you know what? She wasn't the greatest cook. She was a good cook. She was an adequate cook. But she wasn't into it. Like she didn't love to do it. She used to like cut corners a lot. And I don't cut corners. I add corners. I'm like, you know, I'm like Queen Elizabeth. I like more shit. I like measuring stuff. I really do. So that's what, I think that makes a person a good cook. The other thing that people always say about cooking, which I can't bear, is, oh, love is the secret ingredient. That's what makes it so great. Excuse me? No, that is not. Love, listen to me, love has absolutely nothing to do with cooking. I think the more fear and dread you pour into your cooking, the more delicious it will be. This is my theory. Think about all those horrible kitchens that people work in. You know, like you see those documentaries and people talking about those horrible kitchens, and that's where you learn to cook. When you're scared shitless, you learn stuff. I mean, is that horrible? It's kind of true. Can you imagine how many people are going to cancel us when they hear this? It's fine, though. It's fine. You can cancel me. It's true. It's really true. It's horrible, but true. You know, my generation, we learn things the hard way, darling. We had no one telling us we were wonderful and that we won even when we lost, okay? They told us, you know, chop the damn thing. Fucking, you know, do it. Do it, baby. All right. I'm gonna, ooh. And by the way, why is it that you can never cook pasta without the water overflowing? Why is that? And making that those sort of water stains on your really clean, newly cleaned range? Why is that? Look how pretty these look already, right? They look so pretty already. Look at that nice fond on the bottom of the pan. See that, darling? Major. This is major. So we have 6 more minutes, right? Okay, I'm just going to let this cook down a lot, right? And I'm going to put some mint in, or should I wait? I'm going to put some mint in. Okay, I'm putting some mint in. Half the mint, let's say, right? Half the mint. Well, the thing about mint is you need a lot of it to actually perceive it in the dish, you know, especially fighting with the sausage, you know. And then there's like a little lemon at the end of this, and I'm always so scared of the lemon at the end because I don't want it to overtake the dish. The other thing I have to say is really hard to do is to do this without drinking. Because when you're drinking, it's just everything is better, you know, and the mint is like, yep, put the mint in. You know, there's no questions about
why
stuff.
Aren't you drinking?
Why aren't I drinking? Because it's the middle of the day, so. But see how this is breaking down and becoming like mushy? I know it might not seem like what you want, but it is exactly what you want, okay? Seriously. And this is a very authoritarian thing to do in a kitchen. You know, if you can't get people to respect you in the kitchen, bang your spoon on the edge of the pan a lot, and they will come to respect you. All right, so now guess what I'm going to do? I think this is at a point where it's like sort of nicely cooked down. I'm going to put this back in, right? We put the sausage back in. This seems like counterintuitive, but it's not. It really works. Mix this back in, right? And then I'm going to do this really funny thing, which I know Lydia Bastianich would approve of. I'm going to use just a little bit of this in here, a little bit of this pasta water in here, just to like sort of deglaze the pan and get it to stop sort of overcooking, right? And so you just want to kind of like, yeah, because it has all this lovely kind of fond on the bottom. So it's like making this little sauce, you know, this little zucchini sauce. Beautiful. Just a little bit, not a lot, like maybe a half a cup of the water. Look how delicious this is. I think I'm going to add more mint. All right, there's more mint. I mean, okay, I'm going to lower that heat. And then I'm going to get the lemon ready, right? I'm just going to get a little lemon ready. I'm scared. I'm not using lemon zest. I'm not using lemon zest, okay? I'm just going to use a little lemon juice, I think, you know? Okay, so there's the lemon. Yeah, so that's how I learned to cook. I learned to cook from doing cooking demonstrations on a talk show for 7 years with amazing chefs. If you want to get a talk show with a lot of cooks and segments and stuff, you should start with an agent, okay? And they'll get you a show. And then you get a show, which is hell, I'll tell you, it's hell. But you will learn how to cook. So this pasta is very al dente. I think I'm going to give it another minute or two. Really, what does al dente mean? Really? That's another thing you get on every damn cooking demonstration. Al dente, to the tooth. Really? What great information. That's take home, right? Al dente. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to collect more of this water in case our sauce runs a little bit dry. And I like it al dente, so I'm going to keep it this way. And it does cook a minute in the sauce, right? So now this is the treacherous part where you drain the pasta. I'm always so scared it's going to like splash in my face and, you know, ruin I get my glasses. My glasses are all going to be fogged up. Boom. Okay, so there's that. Then I do this. This is my crazy thing about cooking pasta. All right, so now this goes into the sauce. So by the way, you need a great big pan. And then the other thing that I do, which is so nutty, is I always I put this in here, and then you kind of have to mix it in and let it cook for a minute or two, right? You have to let it absorb the beautiful flavors of the sausage and the zucchini and the sauce, right? So let that happen for about a minute. And here's what I do in between the time when the pasta goes in and when I'm ready to sort of finish it, I clean the pot. How crazy is that? Because here's the thing, it just collects, the dishes just collect in the sink. So it's really good to just and the thing is, it's not a very dirty pot. It just has a little water and starch in it, so it's pretty easy to clean. Well, the thing about it is, if you let this sit on the bottom of your sink, it's going to collect all sorts of other dirt and all sorts of other stuff, and it's going to be harder to clean. So if you clean it right now and when the water comes right out of it, I must say it's a little hot. It's a little bit hot. But otherwise, it's just easier to clean right now than it will be when all the rest of the dishes collect on top of it, okay? So that's a Virgo ascendant for you. That happens, right? All right, so now here's the thing. Now is when I'm going to put the rest of the mint goes in. I might have just ruined it, but it might be delicious. We'll see. Okay, and now this has to cook a little bit more, right? Libra sun. I'm a Libra. I'm a Virgo ascendant. I am Sagittarius moon, right? That's fun at parties, darling. What else? All right, so this pasta is pretty much done. I need a bowl, right? I need a bigger bowl. The bowl is ready. And I'm going to use the cheese. So you cut the heat. One thing, turn the heat off before you put the cheese in. You cut the heat and then you add the cheese, right? I'm going to add the cheese, just a little cheese. It's like what? It's about 3/4 of a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Toss it up, and you have to keep your eye on it because you might need a little bit more. I think it needs a little bit more of this water, just a little bit, right? Just to moisten the whole thing. Look how good that looks, right? All right, that is beautiful. I hope you people are hungry. Beautiful. And then, check this out. I'm just going to add a little bit of lemon, just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Look how nicely this came out. I am very, very pleased. Okay, and now this goes into a bowl. Look how perfectly perfect that is, right? It's like gooey and delicious and not dry and not too sort of liquid. It's just perfect. It came out so nicely. Okay, that is pretty. You know who else likes this pasta? Kitty, my dog. Kitty, my dog, really likes this pasta. Okay, now I know I should probably try not to rush, but I always do. And it always turns out fine. All right, so that's the pasta. Just a little cheese on top. So good, right? It's so good. Oh, look at who wants some. She'll be our friend.